It is time for your favorite part of the show and my favorite part of the show. It is making fun of the Vegas Golden Knights time. We're going to do that on today's secret late night drop of Locked On NHL.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, you are listening or watching Locked On NHL, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making this show. I can't even say your first listen of the day because we're, whatever. Thanks for listening to the show. We're, just doing our best. My name is Sarah Avampato, host of Locked On Kings and one half of your regular Wednesday crew here on Locked On NHL, joined as always by Jess Belmosto of Locked On Flames. We're doing a secret late night drop of the show. Long story short, life.
Yeah.
Life slash internet provider that I won't name in case they ever become a sponsor of the show decided to just like kill my internet access for most of the day. And if you're watching on YouTube and you're like, wow, that person looks like greasier and more disheveled than usual, and also why are they wearing a coat? It's because I also have a temporary dog now, and I just went walking in the rain with her. So it's been a great day. We're here to talk to you about literally our favorite thing in the world. It is making fun of the Vegas Golden Knights because they got themselves in a mess. If you have somehow been living under a rock or ignoring hockey news that didn't involve your own team, I'm just going to let you take it away, Jess. What did Vegas do this time?
So, just like we suspected, they were trying to make a move at the deadline so they could free up some cap space, so they could bring back Alex Martinez and Mark Stone from LTIR. And they were trying to move Dadonov, but the thing is that they just did not find his no movement clause trade list thing, and the Anaheim Ducks was going to happily take this player, and Dadonov and his agent were like, no. Excuse me. Hey, this team, that's on my list. But apparently somewhere along the shuffle, the list was never filed. And for those of you who maybe don't remember, he was with Ottawa and then was traded to Vegas or signed with Vegas on July 28th. And then this list was due by free agency opening on July. Did free agency even open on July 1st this year? Whatever. It was July 1st. And I just don't think the list was ever filed by Ottawa.
It's just so messy. It's whenever you first messaged me about hey, this is definitely what we're talking about. My response was the Marie Kondo from the Netflix show I Love Mess, because that is literally what I feel about this. And I mean, the funny thing is that I feel obviously when he put that list together, probably included Anaheim because he's like, this team is garbage and they're going to be garbage. But they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're definitely on the way up. So it's
on the upswing for sure.
But I feel like I would refuse the trade just out of the principle of the thing, even if I was like, well, maybe I'd actually want to go there. And I feel like the greatest part, I mean, it sucks for Evgenii Dadonov because he is in a terrible position now, having to go back to a team that was trying to get rid of him.
Right.
He's supposed to be in their lineup for their next game. They already confirmed it. Of course, Vegas, because they're Vegas, put out a tweet that was like, oops, we welcome Evgenii back to the team. I was like, you could have just said nothing.
You should have just said nothing, because that's so
Vegas.
Again, messy. There's nothing like clean cut, cookie cutter ever coming from Vegas ever again. I think that they truly like cursed themselves when they traded Fleury and never told him. So I think that that just kind of set the precedent and set the tone for the rest of their franchise history. And everyone, like, the reaction on Twitter was like, how does this happen? Like, which is more embarrassing or out of hand, unprofessional? Arizona not filing their taxes or this situation? Because I don't know, like, I'm trying to think, how do you, as like a general manager, like, I'm sure it's not just on the GM, but you don't have like a file or something to rack through and be like, oh, here's
So,
so-and-so's list on a sticky note.
right? I mean, that's how I keep everything important. And I feel like I've definitely been learning, like there was an article, I'm pretty sure it was Pierre LeBrun in The Athletic, was like talking about this, and it has blown my mind that there is no actual like central repository keeping track of players, no trade, like anything special like that. It's just up to like the individual teams to know. And like I think it was the same article that was like giving examples of times in the past where things have gone awry, like a player emailed his list right to the GM got fired, and then no one ever got the list, or
Oh
like
my
all sorts of
god.
bonkers stuff like that. And like this isn't even the first time this has happened
No.
in the NHL. It's just been a long time since it's happened. But like I feel like if you are a person out there who peruses Reddit, the Am I the boards, you will know that the judgment on this will sound very familiar to you, which is everyone sucks here. Like with the exception of like Evgenii Dadonov, who was just like the innocent party in this trade, because like
Right.
Ottawa messed something up. Like Vegas, like I'm sure if you read his contract, it probably says something like see
Right.
addendum blah for the no trade clause. Like if I were Dadonov's agent, I probably would have wanted to be like, hey, y'all got that thing, right? Like just
Right.
everyone sucks.
So,
Everyone sucks.
like, my first, like, now that I'm sitting down and, like, actually, like, thinking about it and talking about it out loud, I wonder if Ottawa didn't have him, like, formally submit anything
Mhm.
because they knew he'd be going elsewhere.
Mhm.
And then Vegas didn't do their due diligence and say, "Hey, like, like when you're in school and they're like, did you fill out your emergency contact form?"
Uh-huh.
Like, no one followed up and was like, hey, like, can I have your no
Right.
trade list? And then again, why is there no central hub
Yeah.
for
Like
this?
that
I
that
swear to
makes me
God,
crazy.
the NHL headquarters probably still uses like a fax machine and like typewriters and like just there. How is this
It
the
is the year
most
2022.
right?
I
This
mean,
is what
also,
happens when you have
like,
old people who are out of touch with technology
right?
running.
Like, also the fact that like the NHL Central Registry that you have to like, register your trades with is literally you call them. And so
Right.
that's why like I'm sure that they just don't want to invest the money. Like I'm sure it would be actually be very complex to, I don't know, make a computer thing that does it. I don't know.
I don't know.
But like that's why like these trades don't even like officially become official until like 2 hours after the trade deadline because
Right.
everyone is on hold with the like 2 people that work there.
Just make an Excel spreadsheet for God's sake. Like, are you kidding me? I just
Google form.
Google
Like
form, like when I found out that like things have to go into like a queue and like you do call and
Mhm.
like I feel like it's like sitting on the phone, like calling into your local radio station to win concert tickets, like as
Right?
a teenager. And it's just like, why is this a thing? And like waiver wires, like you have to call.
Right?
You don't press some buttons.
Maybe that'll change once more like millennials and lower get into positions of leadership. Like you really want to tell me that,
You
Cal
don't need to
Dubas who's
answer a
like,
phone,
great, like, no, we're so busy. We don't want a phone. Who talks on the phone?
right?
So
Shoot me a
weird,
text. Like, is there not just like a hotline or,
right?
like, would you like to claim player from
Right?
this
Like,
team?
can
Yes
you just
or
like
no?
DM the NHL, like slide into their DMs to be like, hey, I'd like me one Trevor Zegras.
Right? Like, it's like a drive-through. You just order what
Yes,
you want and you get it.
exactly. Exactly. Well, we're going to continue making fun of Vegas because that is what we do best. We're also going to look at the other trades that happened in the Western Conference, but I believe you have some food to tell us about.
I do. HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get a farm fresh, pre portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip the trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why they are America's #1 meal kit. Uh, HelloFresh is just fantastic for me personally because as someone who works multiple jobs and is a full-time student, I do not have time to go to the grocery store. I don't care. Even if I have 2 hours, I need that time for myself, and HelloFresh is just a fantastic option to cut back on time at the grocery store and time spent in the kitchen, with meals typically ready in around 30 minutes or less. And plus, they actually do have like 20-minute recipes with low prep, easy cleanup, and provide an even faster route to putting food on the table. HelloFresh offers 50 menu and market items to choose from every week, including veggie, wholesome, fit and wholesome, family friendly, and gourmet options, providing plenty of variety. I love going on and like scrolling through the list and just finding what I like and something new that's like out of my comfort zone. That's not my typical, just like chicken and rice. But you today can go to hellofresh.com/locked-on16 and use code locked-on16 for up to 16 free meals and three free gifts. So head on over to hellofresh.com/locked-on16 and use code locked-on16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. In case you missed that, that's 16.
1-6.
Yeah,
That's a lot of free meals.
that is.
It is.
That's a good deal.
Right. So Vegas. The other funny thing about them trying to make this trade, like, also first off, like, or third of all, like, I feel like the only, aside from Dadonov, like the only other like real innocent party here are the Ducks, who probably were just like, yes, I will receive this player,
Right?
and didn't realize the like hornet's nest that they were just gonna like unearth.
Right?
Um, but like Vegas needs people to score goals for them. They just got shut out by the Jets, and
Oh my god.
Dadonov, like, actually has, he certainly hasn't been living up to the contract that he has, like, that's, fine, but he has been scoring goals for Vegas. He in his past 5 games, he has 4 goals in his past 5 games.
Why are
Like,
you trying to trade this man when you're on the cusp of a playoff wild card spot?
right. And, it's because they shot themselves in the foot by spending too much money. And
Right.
now here we are. Um, their long-term injury reserve situation, they would have to clear so much money. They would have to clear $4.8 million in cap space if they wanted to activate Alec Martinez. They'd have over $9 million to clear if they want to activate Mark Stone before the playoffs. And if someone is healthy, if they have passed all the medical checks, you don't have a choice. You have to activate them. You
So
can't
like
just like let them
what
hang out.
what happens now? Like that's what confuses me because it's like are how can you punish the players? Like the players are healthy. They
Right.
didn't agree to
Right.
any of this. They were, I think Mark Stone had like a back injury. It's not like
Right.
probably had a back injury from carrying the team on his back.
I mean, that's
Whatever.
true, yes.
Like I just like do they face consequences for this? Because this is very,
Mhm.
very different from Tampa Bay.
Right.
Because Tampa could make it work.
Yeah.
Stamkos needed that time, or Kucherov
Yeah.
needed that time
Yeah.
to recover. Yeah, it was a little shady and like, eh, but
Convenient.
Vegas, like, they've been fully exposed,
Yeah.
and I don't know what kind of punishment you can give a team for
Mhm.
something like this, if you can even punish a team, because Vegas could just be like, "Well, we thought that they'd be out longer. We thought
Right.
it was more serious."
Mhm. Mhm.
They can play dumb.
Right?
They're
And,
hockey
like
men, for God's sake. They are dumb. Sorry, everyone.
and, it seems like the solution, quote, unquote,
Mhm.
is so, like, you can still trade Dadonov. He just can't play. So if and it you like, it didn't used to be that way. It used to be you could trade someone and, like, I think they could still play in the playoffs or, like, if you sign someone, but but everyone was like, "Oh, mind blown." Um,
Right.
like, they could trade him to well, I think, everyone uses Arizona as the example because Arizona is, like, the dumping
Has
ground of
money. Yeah.
right. Um, you could trade him to Arizona, um, so there's no playoffs he'd miss out on, obviously. He also just wouldn't be able to play for the rest of the regular season. Like, that would get rid of Vegas's problem, but, you know,
It's
every other team is gonna extort them for like, it's gonna take a first round pick to get rid of this guy
oh,
because,
100%.
like, now a team's gonna have them on his roster and, like,
Not
he
do
could
anything.
not do anything. Like, Anaheim, at least, like, especially after they had just traded away, like, half of their team because they realized the rebuild is real, um, they could have used him. Like, they could have put him to
Right.
work immediately, like, stick him on a line with Trevor Zegras or something, and
Exactly.
ta-da! And instead, he's just gonna, like, sit around, like, you trade him to the Canucks or something, and then he just sits there?
Yeah, but
Like, that sucks for him.
right, and again, that just feels like a punishment for the player,
Mhm.
because it's not like he demanded a trade
Right.
and Vegas couldn't get something done. He is just like a
He's
victim in all of this.
right.
I
He's
would
just
love
living
to
his
hear his
life.
unfiltered thoughts. I don't know if he's married and has kids, but, like, I know what my kitchen conversations look like after a long day of work,
Uh-huh.
angrily chopping my pepper. I would love to know what goes on inside his kitchen or a
Yeah.
group chat,
Right?
anything, because I would just be like, "Why I just wanna play hockey.
Uh-huh.
You wanted to get rid of me, and now you want me to go back and play for you?"
I hope there's, like, a group chat of spurned former Vegas players that's, like, Fleury and Nate Schmidt and, like, Alex
Yeah,
Tuch, who got yeeted in favor of, uh, Jack Eichel, like, there's a
yeah,
whole slew of them. I hope there's just a really active group chat that's just dunking on
there
them the whole
has to
time.
be. Like,
Like
and probably, like, the barbecues at the cottage this summer are gonna be so oh,
brutal.
I
Brutal.
I love it. It's just like another day at, like, one of our day jobs, honestly.
Right. Yeah, it's just,
They're just
like,
like us.
so petty. I love
Right.
it. I love it. Well, we're gonna take a look at, what the rest of the Western Conference did coming up after this, because other teams did do things that we don't really have to make fun of, because some of them actually did smart stuff. But before we do that, I have more delicious food to tell you about, because maybe after you make your HelloFresh meal, you find you're, still hungry, or it's a couple hours later and you're like, "Yeah, I need a snack. I need a snack to get me through until my next HelloFresh meal." Well, that's where Built Bar comes in, because Built Bar is a delicious tasting protein bar. It tastes like a candy bar. You'd never believe it's healthy, but it is. Built Bars are low in calories, low in basically all the bad things, low sugar, low carbs, high fiber, high protein, all delicious. And they come in a ton of amazing flavors, including the Built Puff line, which is a protein infused marshmallow. It tastes delicious if you're into the cinnamon churro one, which you should be. That is definitely a favorite of many of us over here at Locked On. And the Built Bars themselves come in great flavors like mint brownie, coconut. There's berries, there's orange, there's cookies and cream. So whatever it is that you're looking for, you can find the flavor to suit you. I just saw like a text the other day because I get Built Bar texts about like a brownie batter Built Bar. I need to investigate this because it
Oh,
sounds amazing. So you can do the same thing I'm going to do after the show, which is go to built.com and check it out. See all the varieties available. You can use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. That is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. So the other teams did some stuff.
they did.
And I want to like first the first one that comes to mind as having done like truly bonkers stuff is the Seattle Kraken, who do they even have players left?
I was just gonna say, are they like unexpanding themselves from the league? Are they seceding from the
Right?
league
Like
after
someone on Twitter made a great tweet that was like, they know they don't get a second expansion draft, right?
Oh my god. Well, no, like I was at work and I have like really, really spotty service. So it felt like every notification I was getting was just like the Kraken. And I was like,
Mhm, mhm.
what are they doing? So finally I texted one of my friends and I was like, hey, like, are the Kraken just like moving like everyone? And she's like, yeah, there's nothing else like coming through right now. Just the Kraken. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And they
well,
have basically hoarded picks.
there's
So the
one in
trades that they
Arizona.
made, yeah, they're like trying to, yeah, rival Arizona here. Pre-trade deadline, they made the trade with Calle Yarncroc to Calgary. That included 3 draft picks. So let's just keep count here. So we'll count that as part of the trade deadline because it was close enough. So they got 3 draft picks for that one. They traded Mark Giordano and Colin Blackwell to the Leafs and got 3 more draft picks. So we're up to 6. They traded Jeremy Lauzon to the Predators. Everyone is like, why? Because he's bad, but whatever. They're a pick for that. They traded Mason Appleton back to Winnipeg. That's where he came from in the first place. Got a pick for that. They traded Marcus Johansson back to the Capitals. He didn't initially come from the Capitals, but he was there before. They got a player, Daniel Sprong, and then 2 more picks for that. So we're up to 10. And that's it. So 10 picks.
That's
10
a lot.
and exited 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players.
Okay.
Who is playing? They also acquired Victor Rask for some reason, probably because they realized they needed
I need a player.
bodies, and Minnesota, they literally traded him for future considerations. Minnesota was just like, take him.
Right? Brandon Tanev is gonna come back and be like, what?
It's like the like Fresh Prince, like Will Smith gif of him like walking to the room that's like totally empty. That's gonna be Tanev when he comes back. He's like, where'd y'all go?
Right?
Like, what are they know that people have to play for their team next year, right?
Right, and they still have like a full month of the season left.
They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 restricted free agents. That's not even including guys in the AHL. They have 6 restricted free agents, 1, 2, 3 unrestricted free agents of like NHL level guys. From their AHL guys, they've got 5 unrestricted free agents, 4 restricted free agents. Like, what do Seattle?
Nothing makes sense.
No.
I'm currently scrolling through like a recap of trades, and Marc-Andre Fleury being on the Wild, it's
Blows
nice.
my mind.
I don't have to like actively root against him.
Right. He just exists now.
He's just existing. But I really don't want the Wild to make the playoffs. Sorry, Seth. You are an amazing human being. Your Twitter presence is great. But I just don't want to see the Wild succeed. I'm sorry.
That trade does make me think of like, well, bringing it back to like Vegas for a hot second and how they just traded him and didn't even tell him, essentially.
Right.
Like well, when Chicago traded him, basically Cal Davidson, the GM of Chicago, was in like constant communication with Fleury and his agent the entire time to try to find a spot that would be good, like, be good for Fleury, that he wanted to go to. Like, he they could have traded him wherever they wanted, but Cal Davidson was very clear about, like, we wanted to do what was right for him. And they got a second round pick that I think will go to a first round if the Wild do something. And like, you're just like, oh, and then Vegas just traded you without like telling you about it.
And Kyle Davidson, like, we talked about him when his hiring was official, and we talked about how young he is and how he has a big
Mm-hmm.
task at hand here. Like, yeah, he has to rebuild the team, but he also needs to kind of work on saving Chicago's reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to praise people for doing the bare minimum here, but I think that, it's a breath of fresh air when you hear things like that. And, it's not like when when players are like, oh, turning my phone off for the week, like going
Right.
on vacation, and then like the next day they're
Uh-huh.
traded and everyone's like tweeting at them like, well, good luck. But I'm happy for Fleury. He's a good guy still. Just, again, can't root for you. I'm scrolling, and most of these are Seattle, Eastern Conference.
Right. I will say, like, the one other team in the West that I think, and it pains me to say that they did a good job because they are my non-Vegas mortal enemy, is the Ducks.
Yeah.
Because their new GM, Pat Verbeek, like, realized very quickly in taking over the role, like, oh no, we really do need to like rebuild. And this, sure, we're okay right now, but like, that's luck and smoke and mirrors. They traded away 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4.5 players. One guy's a prospect, so who knows? And they got back like two like legit NHLers, one guy who's like an AHL, like can make the next jump, a guy who's injured, a college prospect who immediately signed a deal, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 draft picks. So they've done the work to like really kickstart their rebuild. They moved out guys who they knew they weren't really going to re-sign, and I'm glad that they got rid of Nick Delorier, because all he does is like punch people in the face on my team, and I'm excited to not have to deal with that like 5 times a year anymore. But as much as it pains me to be like, oh, the Ducks did something right, their GM ripped the Band-Aid off and was like, goodbye, fan favorites.
Yes.
Peace.
And he avoided that Hampus Lindholm 8-year extension, which I think is, I'm sick to my stomach. When I saw
that was a choice.
And then I saw that he's making $6.5 million.
Yeah, and his numbers are already kind of
like, he's not that good anymore.
No.
And I'm just, whatever, go Flames. Like, I can't do it. I'm not ready for Bergeron to be gone.
No, that's sad.
I can't even think about that. Oh, nightmare fuel. But
right, no, that's horrible.
But honestly, good for the Ducks. They hold all the cards right now, so hopefully they can make the right moves.
Yeah. And Colorado, I feel like we can end on Colorado because it's just like, how do they keep, they added Andrew Cogliano, so they have like good veteran depth presence. Arturi Lehkonen, who like legit Montreal should have kept him. Like, he's good. So like, great depth player who can play up if you need him to. Nico Sturm, young player. Just like Josh Manson, who's also irritating. And I feel like now Colorado's full of like irritating guys, but they're all also irritating guys who can score. Like, how do they keep getting away with this?
I don't know. And I think we need to investigate because I'm very frustrated. And I don't hate Colorado. I think that they're a fantastic team and honestly like a great organization.
Yeah.
But stop.
Right? Stop. If Joe Sakic calls you, put the phone down.
Right.
Don't
Oh my
answer.
God. I'm so sorry I missed your call.
Right? Like, oh, I was skiing
Right? I was
in
doing
the
other
Alps.
people things.
Right? I was on my yacht.
Right? I didn't have service out there. I'm so sorry. But you
Right?
were
Like, just
tweeting, yeah, no, I didn't have service. I'm sorry.
just don't answer the phone. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Exactly. It's that easy.
It's that easy. Well, we'll see how this all shakes out. Maybe by next week, like Evgeny Dadonov will be a Dallas Star or something and just doing nothing. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah. Also,
Well,
congrats to Tyler Sagan for scoring his 300th career goal, first in
oh,
his draft class to do it.
oh wow! Look at that. Good job, Tyler Sagan. Good job. Goals have been like a struggle for him this year, so that's like,
Yeah, this year and last year. So
yeah,
good
he
for
should have hit that like a long time ago.
well.
Dallas, man.
Oh man.
Well, this has been a delay. Jess, where can the people out there on the internet find you?
Yeah, so you can find me every day talking Flames hockey, Locked On Calgary Flames, and make sure you're nice and leave me nice reviews. And you can follow me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. I'm currently wrapping up The Sopranos for the first time, and there's just a lot of live tweeting going on for that.
Nice.
Lots of
Solid.
emotions.
Solid. You can find me on Twitter at Right Said Sarah, where I tweet about the Kings and the stupid sport and occasionally share pictures of my very cute foster dog, who you probably heard like coughing in the background. So cool. Hope that isn't annoying or anything. This show, of course, is available wherever you get your podcasts. Just Google search whatever Locked on NHL. You can find us on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification button so you never miss a future episode. There is, of course, all sorts of great content all week long here on Locked on NHL from our great stable, I don't know if I like that word, but whatever, of hosts talking about the NHL all week. And we, of course, will be back next Wednesday for more Locked on NHL, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.